Hey folks, welcome back to Moto Remy. We're going to talk about expectations versus reality because I went and sat on a couple more bikes today. Talked to some salesmen, which he was relatively helpful. He wasn't, trying to push me into buying anything. He was responsive to what I was saying, what I was looking at, and trying to make sure I was going to be happy. Which that's kind of what I like out of a sales guy. So I went and sat on two bikes today. Well, three really, but I sat on a Grom, 2022 Grom. Very cool little bike. Not practical for me, but definitely very cool. I would consider one as like a second bike for sure. But I also sat on the CB300R and the SV650. I don't even know if I said that right. SV650. I gotta say, I had high hopes for the CB. The CB300R has been way up there on my list of bikes to be interested in because, at least on paper, ticks a lot of boxes I like. Really just didn't hold up in reality. Now, don't get me wrong, didn't ride it, just sat on it. Moved it around a little bit, played with it. But some basic stuff. It felt toy-like. Not cheap, necessarily, but like, you put it back on the kickstand and it didn't feel good. It didn't feel like they had really placed that correctly. The handles, the handlebars, the grips, the levers, the seat, none of it was really good. It wasn't horrible, but it was just overall, wasn't necessarily like, oh, this sucks. But I wasn't impressed. I was not going, oh, I like this, like I was with the MT-03. The MT-03 to me felt like a small bike. It felt like a bike that was, the Miata, the Aston Martin, the the Jaguar of the bike world, where yes, they're smaller, they're physically a more compact machine, but they're made for an adult. The construction, the ergonomics are designed for an adult. The CB300, it fit me very well, relatively speaking. I felt a little more cramped, but not any worse than on the R3 or the not R3, MT-03. A little different. The ergos were different. I actually liked the peg position better, and I liked where it put my legs because I felt like I had minimal extra room on the MT-03. I felt like I was right there. There wasn't a whole lot of extra. I will definitely, if I get serious about the MT-03, I'm gonna have to put on my boots, put on, my riding boots, put on my gloves, put on my jacket, and go sit on that because it could be close. The the CB, a lot of room. The legs were comfy. There was plenty of room for my knees to move around. But the seat didn't feel quite right. It didn't feel like I was positioned right. It just never really felt good. Now, obviously, that's personal. That is, my butt, not your butt, not somebody else's butt. Didn't feel right. But it felt very light. A lot of that weight is down low. The frame seems very light. When you have it upright and you go to move it back and forth, it just moves. There's nothing. So that was very impressive to me. I like that. The other end of the scale, I got on the SV650 not having any real expectations. I can't get to like the look of that bike. Just something about it doesn't do it for me at all. But spec-wise, very attractive bike. As a beginner rider, who I'm an older guy, I'm not in my 20s. That's an attractive bike. I could keep it longer, right? It's a 650, not a 300. But is it really, do I really want to spend $7,000 on it? Probably $7,500 after destination fee and then taxes and title and all that jazz. Because there's no deals right now. There's no deals. So do I really want to spend that much on my first bike? Kind of expecting that I'm going to go, you know what, I'm going to go a different direction in 6 months to a year. But it felt adult size. It felt solid. All the equipment on it felt better than on the Honda, which is funny because Honda is usually, the premium for this, right? The Suzuki just felt like a real bike, whereas the CB300 felt like a cheap substitute for a bike, which is not, oddly enough, something I got out of the MT-03 or even the R3. They both felt like they were just smaller bikes. So I think that's one of the keys. You can't go into it locked into your preconceptions. So anyway, expectations versus reality. I've probably thrown some pictures up here of the bikes. I probably put even the picture of me on the SV650. The sales guy did not turn the camera sideways. Sorry. But, it is what it is. But you can see that fit me much better. Unfortunately, I did not get any pictures of me on the other bike. The CB300R was, again, in a relatively dimly lit area and tight. I don't know if it shows in the video I did, but it was pretty cramped in there. So it is what it is. But yeah, it was an eye-opening experience and has really, gotten my gears going about, oh, so that's how that feels and that's how that works. So anyway, take care, have fun, stay safe, y'all. Keep riding.